I am here with Dom. Hi,
Hey
Dom.
guys. Hi, how you doing?
Thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm so excited because what we're going to do is we're going to react to a Motionless in White song, and we're going to hopefully use the song to help Dom with something that he's working through. So let's get into it. I reached out asking if anyone had been through a breakup recently and was willing to talk with me about it and see if we could use some lyrics to help you get through it. And you said yes.
Yeah, so I was seeing somebody for almost a year, and it was a very long distance relationship. They lived in another country. But the thing that was the hardest for me was when we broke up, it was not in a very amicable way. Pretty much what had happened was she came here for what was supposed to be 3 weeks. We ended up just not getting along as well. There was something that happened a little bit before she came. It was kind of like a betrayal of trust to me. We kind of tried all these different things to reconnect and just go out and do fun things and try to, get closer again. And it just wasn't working. And I think that it kind of got to her as well and started making her not feel very good. But the craziest thing that happened was she had told me that she bought a plane ticket to go visit family that she has in the States somewhere else. And we kind of talked about it like, okay, maybe a little bit of space for us would be good to kind of just be apart and then come back and
Yeah.
we'll be okay. And when she had left to go see her family, she FaceTimed me when she got there, made sure that she was safe and all that kind of stuff. And she told me that she loved me, she missed me, all that kind of thing. The next morning, I reached out to her to say good morning, and she ended up blocking me on all socials, my phone number, everything. And my friends tried to reach out to her, my family tried to reach out to her. She ended up blocking all of them. She sent one or two of them a message just saying like, "We're breaking up," and like, "Nice to meet
Oh
you
my
guys."
gosh.
I found out that instead of going to see her family, she actually went to see one of my other exes, which also lives in another state. And they ended up, I guess, taking like provocative photos with each other to kind of like get under my skin or something, which is just a whole toxic, mind blowing thing in itself. When I saw that, I was really hurt at first, like for like maybe 5 minutes, because I was sitting there and I was like, why, how, when did you start talking? Like, all these questions running through my head and just kind of like, how did this even happen? Something flipped in my brain. And I've been a very anxious person, a very insecure person for a long time. I've been through a lot of relationships where I was never comfortable, I guess. And there's always this kind of like feeling of never being good enough. And so that's kind of been like a constant pattern throughout my life. But when this happened and I ended up seeing this, it was like a light switch. And I started just kind of thinking, I went from thinking I was hurt to that's kind of like pathetic and shallow of them to do that. But I really thought that this person I could count on. She took care of me when I was sick. Like, she was really a great person up until this happened. I would never say anything bad about her before that. But when I saw that this person that I really thought was different changed or was not who she said she was, whatever you want to call it, it kind of motivated me to start being there for myself more and realizing, you know what, I have to make sure that I'm okay, that I'm secure, that I feel good about who I am, and put myself in a more positive space.
It really sounds like you took the sourest lemons and turned them into lemonade because wow, I can't even imagine how painful and how like whiplash you had to feel from like we had a really good time, we had a good weekend to completely getting ghosted from this person that you're in a relationship with. And then to find out, oh, not only that, but this, like they betrayed me in this way. And then to have that moment where you were able to say kind of like, wait a second, these people haven't been there for me. In the past, people haven't been there for me. How can I make sure that I'm there for me? And to really like use this as a jumping off point to improve your life and your mental health is really, really inspiring. So it sounds like there are still some things that you're trying to work on and heal from this breakup. It sounds like you've gotten like a lot of the way, but let's see if we can use Another Life by Motionless in White to help get a little bit further down this road. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, let's check it out.
If I can't let you go, will darkness divide? For the fiction of love is the truth of our lives. We were playing for keeps, but we both knew the cost. Now the only way out in your heart-shaped box. But I hate that it seemed you were never enough. We were broken and bleeding, but never gave up.
Oh, this is good.
That I made you the enemy. And I hate that your heart was the casualty. Now I hate that I need you.
Okay. I'm vibing.
So catchy.
I love her outfit.
Like notes on a page, the finest to compose could not play our pain with a candle through time. I could still see your ghost, but I can't close my eyes for it. For it is there where you haunt me, where you love it. I hate that it seems
There's the metal in the metalcore.
Yep.
we were broken and bleeding, but never gave up. And I hope that I sing through your memory as we echo through time in the melody. Now I hate that I need you, and I hear you now when you said it, but it had to fall apart to work as I see you now in what's left of me. Is it too late to resuscitate? Cause I hate that it seemed you were never enough. You were broken and bleeding.
I was not dancing on the beat.
As I hope that we meet in another life. I hope that we meet in another life. I don't hate that I need you. I don't hate
This is such a good song. This is a great song too.
I don't hate that I need you.
Is he gonna wake
Crazy.
up now that she?
Crazy.
Oh. Okay. All right. That's a freaking banger. Also, reminder, disclaimer, I am a therapist, but I'm not acting in the capacity of a therapist in this moment. I'm just using my knowledge of mental health and my love of music to hopefully create an experiment. Okay, let's talk about it. So the first lyric that I thought could be helpful is, but I hate that it seems you were never enough. You often feel like there's this like underlying story of like, I'm not enough in relationships and this is why this kind of like happens to me. When we go through a breakup, we often tell ourselves a story of like, either I'm not enough and this is why this happened, or this other person isn't enough and that's why that's happened. What we're trying to do in that moment is like control, because if it's true that we weren't enough or they weren't enough, then that inherently means that something could be fixed and changed. And if that one thing was fixed or changed, then we wouldn't have to experience pain again. So it's a way to try to control experiencing pain.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And it's funny because I've listened to this song so many times and I've never really like analyzed the lyrics or like thought about what he was saying so much. But now that we listen to it, I see like a lot of things that do apply to me. And
Okay.
what's really interesting is like when I was listening to it with you, I was thinking to myself of almost like they were saying those words to me about myself. And then there were certain parts of it where I feel like I was saying it to her. So it's kind of cool that
Yeah.
I think it kind of hit both spectrums.
Okay. Dom, is there an artist, like a musician, that you know in like actuality is really good, but you just don't like listening to?
For me, one band that just popped into my head because all my friends love them is Dance Gavin Dance. And
Okay.
I know they're talented. They're immense musicians. All their vocalists they've ever had are phenomenal singers. I just can't get into the music. It's just not for me. But I think they're a great band, regardless.
You said it better than I could have said it myself, which is the exact point that we're going to make here. First of all, I do love Dance Gavin Dance. So I'm going to
Then I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're going to have to agree to disagree. But that's actually perfect because just like you said, you know it's not because they're not talented. You know it's not because they're not amazing. They're just not your cup of tea. And when you hear this lyric, when you listen to this song, I want you to remember Dance Gavin Dance, that it's not that they're not good enough. They are good enough. They're a good enough band, just like we know Machine Gun Kelly is good enough. And I know that Beyonce is good enough. It's not about enoughness. It's about compatibility, right?
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not that you're not good enough. It's just that you weren't compatible. So remember
Right.
that when you hear that lyric that says, but I hate that it seems you were never enough, which I imagine that when it feels like they were talking to you. Does that feel right? Okay.
Yeah.
Does that sound good? Can we
Yeah,
do
that was
that?
beautiful. I love that.
Okay. Amazing. Okay. So the next lyric, Dom, is, and I hate that I made you the enemy. Now, in this instance, we don't have to like pick sides, but like, man, it's hard not to because I'm feeling like she might be a little bit of the enemy. But that's okay. Is one that sometimes it can be an important part of the healing process to be angry at someone. And I want you to remember that it's okay to be angry, but it's also okay to be sad, right? And that even though this person did something that was really, really painful and like pretty mean and immature, that you can still think of those memories and miss them. And that's okay. And that reminder of like this, my first reminder, it's like part A of this lyric, is that whatever you are feeling in that moment about the breakup is okay. And my encouragement is to just allow yourself to feel it and do whatever you need to do to process through it, whether it's sing or journal or cry or whatever that might be, and just say like, this feeling is okay and it's normal.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I've heard that exact thing in a Jay Shetty podcast, and I've like, that's crazy.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
It is.
And so instead of thinking about like, there is something wrong with me and I'm not good enough, and that's why I keep ending up in these relationships, instead, I want you to remember that your unconscious is actually trying to give you the gift of healing.
I love that.
Does that feel good?
Yeah, and I think that I want to dial it back a little bit to what you were saying before, because that line, I hate that I made you the enemy, and it's like, yeah, I could think that she's the enemy, and in my story, maybe she is. But I think that it's also important to remember accountability to yourself, because you could be the enemy to her, because she clearly has some type of feeling or something that made her do what she did. And I think that it's kind of a line, like, I don't personally think what I did warranted the reaction from her. I don't think that, her doing something spiteful was warranted by any way to me. I do think that it's important to also not always be the victim. And I think that, always look at yourself and realize that there could be something that I did that made her feel a certain type of way. And maybe I didn't do it intentionally. Sometimes things happen, and sometimes you hurt people without realizing that you hurt them. And I think it's important to kind of keep that in mind too, because just as much as I'm hurt, like maybe she's hurt. I don't want to live my life being the person like, oh, this person did me wrong. This person broke my heart. This person is, such a horrible human being. It's like, no, what they did was bad, but like maybe, I don't know. I don't know what could justify what she did, but I always try to kind of be level-headed about it and be like, well, maybe she's going through something. Maybe she's internalizing something. Maybe something sparked a rise in trauma that she had from the past. Like it could be anything. And unfortunately, I'll probably never know, because she blocked me and everything. I'll never get to have that conversation, which is a big thing that sucks about breakups that aren't amicable, is that like you don't get to kind of talk about it, and like, because even after the fact, like I would love to be able to just have a conversation with someone, because I think that you do a lot of healing that way when it's not so fresh. And I
Mm,
think that being able to have a conversation with someone in like a peaceful way,
yeah.
I think that people react out of hurt. And I think that that's a big realization I made, is that a lot of the things that I do or anxieties that I have are because I've been hurt and I want to protect myself. And I think that other people do the same thing. And I think it's like this kind of crazy headbutting of like people's anxieties of trying not to be hurt, that you end up hurting people.
Yeah. Wow. That's really, really powerful. And I want to actually maybe if this feels more helpful for an action step of this lyric, is because what I'm hearing you say is like, I didn't get closure and I really want closure.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to understand. I hear this a lot with my clients, and personally, I have had an experience too where I'm like, oh my God, I got to understand. Like, I got to be able to
Hmm.
talk to you about this. And something that I've learned is that closure isn't found, it's created. And we actually can create it ourselves too. And so when you hear this lyric, I want you to say the things that you wish you could say to them, and say, like, I forgive you for, I thank you for, and I apologize for. Many times, the explanation that people will give you is not the truth. It's just the truth that they have access to,
Right.
because they might not know what's really underneath. She might not know what really motivated her to do that, because it doesn't sound like it was something you did. It sounds like something you did triggered something old in her, like an old pain, and then caused her to act this way. But if she hasn't done that work to understand, then she's not going to be able to give you what you're looking for anyway.
Right. And I think that that's part of what I was saying earlier too about, it could be things at my fault too, because I'm not fully healed from things from my past
Yeah.
too. I think there's a lot of things that I went through, like I said, that kind of sparked certain anxieties in me. That's another thing that I had to learn recently, is that I need to really try my best to fully heal from those things as much as you can, because otherwise that leads on to other people, and that's never good.
Yeah. Okay. The last one you kind of already talked about a little bit. So I really like this, but
So for me, when I heard that, the first thing that I thought was that I actually don't hate that feeling that I needed then. Because when you're looking back at it, and I think you kind of touched on this before, I wanted to respond to it, and it was part of what I forgot. I don't hate that I need you, because you don't want to regret the feelings that you had. Like, something brought you to this person for a reason. Something made you feel good and want to get into this relationship in the beginning. And you had all these amazing experiences, because the relationship wasn't bad all the time, like for the most part, it was a great relationship. With every relationship, whether you stay friends afterwards or not, you learn from it. You still have great experiences in it, and you still created a bond with someone that's so strong. And to regret all of it and just kind of throw it away is just like unrealistic, and it really doesn't do anything for you. And I think to kind of remember that you did need this person, and that they did have an important role in your life and taught you lessons, I think is something that's super important. And it's not something that you should hate. I think it's something that you should reflect on, and be happy happened.
I think like what you said is actually really powerful at the beginning of like, I don't actually hate that I needed you, because me loving you and me needing you at that time got me to where I am now, which is needing me and knowing that I need me and I need me to show up for me. So when you hear that lyric, I want you to find one thing to be grateful for about the relationship and
Okay.
about what it's giving you. Okay? So we have three lyrics, three steps. One, but I hate that it seems you were never enough. Remind yourself of Dance Gavin Dance, and that they're super talented. They're just not your cup of tea. Two, and I hate that I made you the enemy. we talked about a couple of different things here. So 2, and I hate that I made you the enemy, remind yourself that this person is playing a role in your life and that you were lovingly trying to heal a part of yourself through this person. And now you get to know that about yourself. And also, part 2, remind yourself it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling about it and just feel it. And 3, now I hate that I need you. Think of one thing that you are grateful for that the relationship gave you. Can we do that?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what we're going to do, Dom, is I'm going to let you go in a couple minutes. And then I'm going to ask you to listen to the song every day for 7 days. And then we'll come back next Thursday, hopefully, if you're free. And we'll talk about it and what your experience was like and anything you noticed. And yeah, does that sound okay?
Yeah, sounds great.
We're going to listen to the song every day and try to remind yourself of kind of those things we talked about in those lyrics. How did that go?
Really well, actually. I found myself resonating more as I listened to it. And it's kind of funny how what we talked about like really stuck with each lyric. And I felt it every time I kind of listened to it. So I think it was really cool. It was definitely cool to like see how that evolved.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Amazing. So let's just like go back through each lyric and talk about a little bit. Okay. The first lyric, but I hate that it seems you were never enough. And we talked about like how things can be incredible and not compatible. Tell me a little bit about how you're feeling there and if anything has shifted for you.
So with that, I don't necessarily think it's shifted too much because I was kind of in that place when we had started talking about this. But I think hearing it repeated for 7 days straight really kind of engraved it in my head. And I don't know, I really feel that because it's kind of like what we were talking. I think the lyrics all kind of tie together in a way, which I guess kind of makes sense with the song. But I think it's really a point that, you know, you can have something that's amazing in the moment, but just because it doesn't continue on or isn't forever doesn't mean that the time that you spent was bad or anything, or that you should forget it. It's still important and you still learn and grow through it. And there's a lot of, I always say that with relationships, you learn a lot and it just makes you a better person later. And so I really feel that.
Yeah. And I think like that's totally the second lyric too. And we talked about remembering that you were just like playing a role in each other's healing and that you learn a lot, that you learned a lot, and that it's like kind of helped you on your journey realize some things about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So you should never feel like you're not enough. You should, or that, just that you're not enough. You should just feel that, like, you know, sometimes people don't mesh well together, or people are too different, and that's okay. People are allowed to be different. It's kind of what makes the life, like this life, beautiful, is that everyone has their own individuality, and like that's great.
Yeah. The last lyric, like, now I hate that I need you. And like, it sounds like you really have found gratitude. And I know you were kind of already in that place a little bit, but I hear like even a little more gratitude for what the relationship has taught you.
Yeah. And I think that that's kind of what I grasped from listening to it over and over, was that in a way, it's okay that you kind of needed somebody, and what you needed, you kind of received. I feel like everything kind of happens for a reason, and what I needed out of that relationship, what I needed to learn, the experiences that I needed to have, I think all of that kind of came to life. When I was looking back at it, I was like, you know, I had conquered a lot of fears in the relationship. I did things I've never done before in the relationships. I've had love that I never had before in the relationship. So like, I feel like in a way, even though it ended and it wasn't a great ending, I still learned a lot. It still made me a better person. The way that it ended kind of changed my mindset. And I think that it's just a beautiful way to kind of not think negatively about something that, you know, you once thought was a heartbreak, but now it's kind of like, oh, but like good came out of it, you know?
Yeah, I feel so excited for you. It sounds like you're really like closing the loop on this healing journey from this breakup in particular. And like, I think we're always growing, always healing, always evolving. And, you know, grief but like I feel like a sign that you are really moving on to the next chapter and healing is that you're able to really see a lot of the purpose and a lot of the growth that this relationship gave you. And yeah, it's just really exciting to hear that.
Yeah, it's exciting to feel it, honestly. Like, I have been someone who has dealt with a lot of depression in the past and a lot of anxiety and all those types of things, and to kind of like have a better outlook compared to heartbreaks I've had in the past, it feels good to like be in this place, because it's been like a while since I've been this content, I guess you could say, level-headed about having a heartbreak. So
That's awesome. Yeah, even to see like your resilience has increased, like your ability to like bounce back has increased over time. That's really cool. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how healed do you feel from this breakup?
I would say I'm at a 9 right now.
Okay, that's so exciting. Because I think last time you were at like a 7.
Yeah.
Right?
So
or an 8 maybe? That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I think that the song, the reflection, and all the work that I've been doing, like I mentioned in the previous conversation that we had, like with all the podcasts and stuff, like I think doing that every day and just kind of having a routine of trying to self-reflect and better myself and look more on the brighter side of things, I think has really been helpful.
I'm so stoked. Like, thank you, Motionless in White. Thank you, Another Life. Like, thank you for coming on and like sharing your story so vulnerably with us, and for like taking this time to actually focus on this, like, and to use music to like help you feel happier. Like, I just think it's so special, and I'm so grateful that we got to do this. Like, I can't even stop smiling. I'm like so stoked.
No, I'm happy too, and like I'm really grateful that you had this conversation with me and invited me to do this, and I hope that everybody who watches it really like kind of takes away from it that just because you go through something that's hard, it doesn't mean that it's going to be that way forever, and you can heal from things that you go through. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from any conversation like this, is that just because you go through something that's difficult and that's heartbreaking, it doesn't mean that it's going to be that way forever, and you will bounce back.
Totally. And if you can relate to any of the lyrics in this song or any of Dom's experience, and there's something that you're healing from, a loss, please share in the comments by tagging at HeartSupport, and we will encourage you. And if you liked this Motionless in White video, you have to check out my reacts to Sign of Life, because you're going to dig it too. It's pretty cool.